going to take a look at the past perfect tense. We've already learned in German the present tense, the future tense, and the present perfect tense, as well as the simple past. This is another form of the past tense. An example in English would be, I had bought a book, or I had flown to Germany. So we'll examine how can you have the past perfect tense in German. One thing you need to know about the past perfect tense is that it always points to the event that preceded another event in the simple past. So if I said, I bought a book before I had studied the language, bought a book is the simple past, and had studied is the past perfect tense. So you often see the past perfect tense in a sentence that's combined with a simple past statement. The other thing that's important to note about the past perfect tense is that it expresses an event or action that has taken place prior to an event or action that occurred in the past. So it's very much like the past of the past. If you think about it this way, here's the present tense. Moving forward, you learn the future. Something that has occurred in the past would be like the present perfect or the simple past. So I buy a book, I will buy a book, I did buy a book or bought a book. And then prior to that event, we have the past perfect. I had bought a book. I had bought a book, I bought a book or did buy a book. I buy a book, present tense, and then future tense, I will buy a book. So after today, you'll be able to deal with many events in terms of where they occur on a timeline and talk about present, past, and future interchangeably. So one of the things you need to know about the past perfect is similar a little bit to the present perfect. That means we need to make sure we watch out for the past participles. So let's go ahead and examine what we already know. We already know the present tense. Ich kaufe ein Buch. Then we learned the present perfect. The present perfect requires us to utilize haben or sein and the past participle of our verb. The past participle of kaufen is gekauft. Kaufen is a regular verb, therefore we use haben. Ich habe, du hast, sie, es hat, wir haben, ihr habt, sie haben. So this is what we looked at before. To say I had bought a book, so this is I have is present. To say past of have, I have to know the past of have. So we've examined those already in the simple past. The simple past of have is simply hatte. Ich hatte, du hattest, sie, es hatte, wir hatten, ihr hattet, sie hatten. So hatte is the past. And reminiscent of what we know from the present perfect, we use the past participle of kaufen. So the past participle is still gekauft. So instead of saying ich habe ein Buch gekauft, the past perfect tense tells us ich hatte ein Buch gekauft. Now this is all well and good for a regular verb, but what if you have to use sein, right? Like sein ist gewesen or fahren ist gefahren. So instead of using haben, we're going to go ahead and examine and use the sein form. So here's an example with the present tense. Ich fliege nach Berlin. I fly to Berlin. That's now. In the past perfect tense, fliegen is irregular. Fliegen is fliegen ist geflogen. So therefore, remember that we have to use to be. And we conjugate to be or sein to go with the subject of the sentence. Ich bin, du bist, er, sie, es ist, wir sind, ihr seid, sie sind. And then we use our past participle, geflogen. So, what does that do for us if we're doing the past perfect? What's the simple past of to be? Hopefully you'll recall that it's war. Ich war, du warst, er, sie, es war, wir waren, ihr wart, sie waren. So, the simple past of to be, I, is ich war, and then we keep our past participle, geflogen. So, I fly to Berlin, I did fly to Berlin, I had flown to Berlin. Ich war nach Berlin geflogen. If you take a look at this statement from a German advertisement, hopefully you can recognize the past perfect tense. The past participle of to wish, wünschen, gewünscht, and then the simple past of haben. Das hatte ich mir schon immer gewünscht. So to make sure we're ready for this, review the simple past of to have and to be, and make sure you write these down. Haben. Ich hatte, du hattest, er, sie, es hatte, wir hatten, ihr hattet, sie hatten. The simple past of sein. Ich war, du warst, er, sie, es war, wir waren, ihr wart, sie waren. So let's take an example. One of the introductory rules is that the perfect tense is basically the past of the past. So it's usually used in conjunction with a sentence that's already in the simple past. So here's an example of a sentence that's in the simple past. Wir fuhren in die Ferien. We drove on vacation. Fuhr is the simple past of fahren. So this happened in the past, but even before we drove on vacation, so even further in the past, vor unserer Abreise hatten wir schon unser Koffer gepackt. Sorry, take care of that. Before our trip departure, we had already packed our suitcases. So before you drove on vacation, you had packed your suitcases. An example of just a simple past perfect tense sentence, had lived. Live is wohnen. Wohnen, past participle is gewohnt. Wir hatten in einem schönen Haus gewohnt. Notice the two-way preposition here. So since you are living there, that takes the dative because it's talking about the location of the house. Wir hatten in einem schönen Haus gewohnt. And also we have our adjective ending here. So das Haus, dative, adjective ending, following an ein word. So a little bit in order from present to perfect. Present tense, we are at a party. Present perfect, the next one we learned. Wir sind auf einer Party gewesen. Because remember, sein is gewesen. Then the narrative past. Wir waren auf einer Party. And then, to make the past perfect, we want the simple past of waren, and we want to use the past participle that we already know. Wir waren auf einer Party gewesen. So take a minute to see if you can write these 4 sentences auf Deutsch. Your job is to watch out for the past perfect tense. The past perfect tense: had played, had spoken, had driven, and had bought. Take a few minutes to write these down, and when you're ready to check your answers, resume the video. So, spielen, gespielt. Sie hatte gut gespielt. Gut means good and well. Ich hatte Deutsch schon als Kind oder wie ein Kind gesprochen. Fahren ist gefahren. Ich war nach Hause gefahren. And a pair of pants, you could say Hose, eine Hose oder ein Paar Hose. Ich hatte eine Hose gekauft.